There's a concept in corporate America called product lifecycle, and it's pretty much the journey that every consumer-facing product goes through. So initially, there's the introduction phase, where you're showing your product to people who are completely unaware of your brand. And then second, there's the growth phase. That's usually the most exciting phase of product growth. That's when people are more familiar with your product, they enjoy it, they like it, they're spreading the word, and this is pretty much when your product goes from 0 to 90. The next phase is the maturity phase. Now this is the peak of popularity for your product. It's entrenched in households. It might become synonymous with an activity. So if you notice, we don't say, let's go on the search engine and look for an answer. You go, let's go Google an answer. And the maturity phase is when the product goes to 100. I would argue this is where companies want to stay and remain forever. But unfortunately, life is never that good because the next phase is the decline phase. This is when consumers might get sick of your product. They're looking for something new, something fresh. A new competitor emerges in the industry and the popularity of your product starts to go down. Now, why am I talking about this? We all know the collaboration between Jordan Brand and A Ma Maniére. 3 out of those 4 models are perhaps the most popular Jordan Brand models ever. And objectively, I think they nailed all of them. However, after the Jordan 4s came out, I was beginning to predict that they would start the decline phase. If we're being honest, the collaborations were starting to look stale, at least in my opinion, where they would just throw on white and burgundy or sail and burgundy, and we kind of knew exactly what to expect. So when the Jordan 12s were confirmed, I deliberately avoided looking at detailed images. I wanted to get them in hand and see if my hunch was correct. The Air Jordan 12 A Ma Maniére Black and Burgundy. Now this shoe is one of 2 Air Jordan 12s as part of a wider collection to celebrate Black women. Now there was actually an in-store raffle on February 15th that was only for women, and then the next day from February 16th to the 19th there was general in-store raffles, and on February 24th they released them on the website, and that's when I got this shoe. It was actually surprisingly easy to get. That doesn't usually happen with A Ma Maniére Jordan collaborations, but I think the hype behind this shoe particularly is slightly less than I originally anticipated. So this shoe retailed for a price of $225, so I was definitely expecting the best of the best. Even though it came in a familiar burgundy colorway as I expected, it's just something about holding these shoes in hand. It just impresses me so much. So I can't wait to go through the details of this shoe and give you my sole score of the A Ma Maniére Black and Burgundy Jordan 12s. Here we go. This shoe comes with black nubuck base layer with suede burgundy overlays, and both materials are very nice. If you look at the black nubuck, you can still see the grain of the leather come through. Now one thing about nubuck always is that it gets pretty dirty. You can see I've only worn this shoe for about an hour, and you can see all the dust that's kind of piled on top of it. But that's got nothing to do with the quality of the nubuck, it just comes with the material. And because the overlay is suede, I have to run my fingers over it. I think it is good suede. I don't think it's the best. I always compare suede shoes with the Ugly Duckling Air Max 1s. I prefer smooth suede, as smooth as a suede can get. And when I feel the burgundy suede on this shoe, it's slightly rougher, but it's still very nice. It's still very good. At least it's not that super hairy suede that I just don't really love. Now the Jordan 12 was designed by Tinker Hatfield, and he was inspired by Japan, also nicknamed the Land of the Rising Sun. So if you didn't know, Japan's old flag actually had rays of sunshine coming from the sun. So you see the stitching of the Jordan 12 in that pattern, that's to resemble the rays. Now where is burgundy suede on this shoe? On a general release, it'll usually be that faux lizard skin material that you see right under it. Right above the midsole, you'll see the faux lizard skin material, and I like how they changed that up. Now one thing you'll notice on the upper sole of this shoe is that there's no perforations anywhere. So that might look nice aesthetic wise, but if you're a sweaty person, ventilation wise that might be a problem. Now the midsole of the shoe comes in Nike's patented Phylon, which is essentially Nike's version of EVA foam. It's made to be more lightweight, more responsive than like a rubber midsole. And right above the midsole, you'll see the word Jumpman. Now you have a rubber outsole, which is actually made to look like a fish's body. So you see that pattern in the midfoot? That's supposed to resemble the bones of a fish. One thing I love is the carbon fiber shank across the outsole. Love carbon fiber on shoes. So lightweight, so durable. And the herringbone traction is awesome. If you've ever played in the Jordan 12, traction is supreme. And on the toe of the outsole, you see that Jordan Jumpman kind of extending towards and over the midsole. Now more on that later. This shoe also has a full-length zoom unit all the way from the heel to the forefoot. Now the Jordan 12 was actually the first Jordan brand shoe to use zoom here, and it feels great. The cushioning of the Jordan 12 is awesome. Now one of the coolest things on the shoe is the middle Jumpman and the middle A Ma Maniére logo on the tongue of the shoe. I really like when collaborations add their details to a shoe instead of just giving like a different colorway. And A Ma Maniére usually always does that spot on. And the eyelets on the shoe has also been tweaked. You'll see one Jumpman and one A Ma Maniére logo. And the booty of the shoe, one of the coolest of all Jordan shoes, that's also been tweaked. One says Ama Manea, one says Jordan, and you also see that 23 on the bottom heel of the shoe. And a very nice touch is that the laces are waxed. You'll see that little shine and gleam coming through the laces. Love that. Again, adds to the premium and luxury feel of the shoe. Now there is quilted lining inside the shoe, which gives it a more luxurious and premium look. I don't think it feels particularly more comfortable than like a well-padded ankle collar. The shoe also comes with an Ama Manea Jordan hang tag, which is pretty standard for Ama Manea Jordan collaborations. Love that. Now the box of the shoe is also very unique. Right away you can tell it's an Ama Manea collaboration. There's a translucent cover with Ama Manea's logo printed all over. And the box itself comes in this golden kind of color with a Jordan Jumpman on the top. And inside you'll find Ama Manea branded paper. Love that. I love when collaborations put in the effort from start to finish, from box to shoe. 3 things that I love about this shoe. Number 1 is that middle Jordan and Ama Manea logo piece on the tongue. I just think it's such a cool detail. The black on black kind of blends in, but the middle piece is shiny so you can still see it. I love when they do things on the tongue that makes the shoe stand out a little bit more, and I think they definitely did it with this one. Second thing I love about this shoe, it is the carbon fiber shank on the outsole. I just love the way carbon fiber feels. It's just so lightweight, but it's so strong, and it's just such a cool thing to add to a shoe. On a car, whenever you want to get carbon fiber add-ons, it costs a fortune. And when they add that to a shoe, not only does it increase the performance of the shoe, I feel like it also increases the premium and luxury nature of the shoe. Shoes at a lower price point don't come with carbon fiber for a reason. It's expensive. Third thing that I love about this shoe is the hang tag. How could you not like collecting memorabilia from shoes? I would never wear the hang tag and leave it on the shoe, but I do like collecting them. So thank you Ama Manea for always including the hang tag with every collaboration. 3 things that I don't love about this shoe. Number 1, it's not specific to this shoe, but it happened to my Jordan 4 Ama Maneas as well. And that's the QC on this shoe is just kind of rough. You can see some glue stains, and when I opened this shoe, there was actually like a little scuff on the toe box, which I get if you wear this shoe, since it is nubuck, it's just the way it is, it's gonna scuff. But when I buy fresh and I open it up fresh, I don't really expect any scuffs. Second thing that I don't love about this shoe, it came with no extra laces. I get sometimes they don't throw in extra laces, especially with collaborations, because they want to control the brand. They want to control how people wear their brand. But I don't see why they couldn't include the very recognizable Ama Manea burgundy, as well as sail. They use sail so much, I think it would make this shoe have a different look. So for the Jordan 5 Ama Manea collaboration that's coming up, I really hope they're going to throw in an extra set of laces. Third thing that I don't love about this shoe, again, not specific to the Ama Manea collaboration, it is the fact that the Jordan Jumpman kind of pokes out onto the toe. Some people might like it, some people might think that's a distinct feature of the Jordan 12. I personally have never really liked that part of the Jordan 12. I prefer if the front of the toe was just like a flat solid color. Now size-wise, in my previous video, I talked about starting an experiment. I'm a 9.5 true to size. I usually go up half a size to size 10 for Nike and Jordan. But I'm gonna start an experiment when I buy 9.5 for every model, every shoe, every brand. I don't care what it is, and I'm gonna find out if I can survive on a 9.5. So I went for a size 9.5 for this shoe. I do have wide feet. I gotta say the length of the shoe is perfect. But where this arch begins, right over here, is the same problem as the Jordan 2s. It really is stiff. It's hard on my feet. Maybe I need to break it in a bit more. But boy, after an hour of wearing that shoe, this part was particularly sore. And maybe it's because this material over here is slightly different, doesn't have as much give or softness as leather. But right here, if you have wide or even flat feet, I definitely recommend going up half a size if you can stand a little bit of extra room lengthwise. Comfort and cushioning wise, the Jordan 12 has always been known to be one of the more comfortable shoes, and part of that's owing to the whole zoom unit on the entire outsole. And I agree, the cushioning is soft, it's responsive. The ankle collar is nicely kilted, it's nicely padded so it doesn't hurt. But again, it's just that one area that's very specific to my wide feet that isn't as comfortable as the rest of the shoe. So now to give it a sole score, the first metric is colorway. Love this colorway. I think most people prefer the white and burgundy, and I'm actually torn. I think I might like the black and burgundy a little bit more. I've always liked black dominated shoes more than maybe the average person. So for this shoe, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 colorway. The next metric is materials. Now the material on the shoe is great. The nubuck is really nice and maintains the leather texture. The suede is great. It's not the best that I've seen in my opinion, but it's still really good. The laces are waxed, it gives a shiny kind of more premium feel. There's a carbon fiber shank on the outsole, and the midsole is Phylon, which is more preferable to like a rubber midsole. So for materials, I would give it a 5 out of 5. However, the nubuck did come with some dust and a little scuff mark out of the box, so I'm gonna give this shoe a 4 out of 5 for materials. The next metric is comfort. The The cushioning is great, the length is good, the padding inside the shoe feels awesome. Unfortunately for me as a wide footer, this arch, this bit right here, does start to hurt my feet, so I'm gonna give this shoe a 3 out of 5 for comfort. The next metric is versatility. Now at first I thought this shoe wouldn't be that versatile. I don't currently have any other Jordan 12s in my rotation. I always thought it wasn't a very easy silhouette to put an outfit together with, but after putting them on feet with just very simple black pants, I like the way it looks on my feet. And this colorway, the black and burgundy, just goes well with so many things. So for versatility, I thought it would have been a 3 out of 5, but after seeing them on feet, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. The last metric is storytelling, and this one's a tricky one. Armand Manier always comes with pretty good storytelling, from the box to the details to the tweaks they make to the shoe, and they have done exactly that with the shoe again. However, maybe a slight missed opportunity is that the story behind this shoe, behind the Jordan 12 release overall, is to celebrate black women, to acknowledge their achievements, the obstacles that they've had to overcome. But if you just looked at the shoe without going on the website and knowing the backstory of it, there's not really a lot of things that kind of speak to that particular storyline. So for this shoe, I love how they packaged it and executed on it. But there's just that one piece where I wish they maybe would have done a bit more to actually remind us what this shoe is celebrating. So for storytelling, I'm gonna give this shoe a 4 out of 5. So that brings the total Soul score of the Jordan 12 Armand Manier Black and Burgundy to 19 out of 25. That ties it at first place with the Air Max 1 Ugly Ducklings. I really thought we'd seen the best of Armand Manier, that the next shoe after the Jordan 4 would be stale. I wouldn't like it as much as their other collaborations, but after seeing them at hand, they just impressed me again. And recently, images of the Air Jordan 5 Armand Manier collaboration have come out. Oh, as someone whose favorite silhouette is the Jordan 5, I think they might be at the maturity or even the growth phase of that product lifecycle for a bit longer, because those shoes look awesome. So that's it. Thanks for watching Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Armand Manier Jordan 12 Black and Burgundy. Do you like this shoe better or worse than the white and burgundy version? Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, just remember, wear your shoes.